This is going to be a very interesting weekend for the box office because, well, we have a battle of two playing out. It's very interesting. Oh, and it looks like I have a battle in the bathroom there as well. We're done in the house, actually. This is very, very interesting.
It's the best morning magic ever.
Yes, yes, indeed. From Deadline. I know it doesn't look like Deadline. It is Deadline. It's just that site is unusable unless you have a reader mode now. 28 years later, Walking Dead to 56 million plus worldwide opening. Elio orbiting 50 plus million worldwide as Dragon looks to lord U.S. box office preview.
Yep.
From Anthony D'Alessandro and Nancy Tartaglione. What battle are we talking? We're talking about Elio versus How to Train Your Dragon. Sony and Danny Boyle's post-apocalyptic Infected Dead People revival 28 years later opens Friday. I'm hearing it's one of the best horror movies ever made. Possibly. I don't know. With Disney Pixar's original sci-fi Elio, which are looking at a global start of 56 million to 50 million, respectively. That's a very interesting way to deliver that information because usually they start out with the domestic totals and they go to worldwide. It's interesting. Yeah, very interesting indeed, right? Together with Universal DreamWorks Animation's How to Train Your Dragon, which is expected to hold number one, with a 40 million plus second weekend, number one second weekend against a Pixar film? That's not good. The three movies look to make around 90 million domestic. Broken out, that's 28 to 30 million for 28 years later. It's very interesting how they group them all together. And then 20 plus million dollars for Elio. Yes, folks, you heard that right. How to Train Your Dragon, a live action remake of a film that was made 15 years ago, thereabouts, or some time ago, is going to beat out, not on its first weekend, but its second weekend, a Pixar film by double. That's absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. What is going on here, guys? What is happening?
Clearly this is the fault of the fans.
Exactly. This is a counter programming issue. They shouldn't have released a movie that's about zombies versus a studio that is The Walking Dead here on the same weekend.
Oh, the jokes, they keep on it coming. My goodness gracious.
My favorite has been the people on there's like, well, look, you guys complain about sequels, but then they put out something original, and even though you have absolutely no interest in seeing it, you don't go see it.
It's like the husband who takes his family to Hooters and says, "You said you wanted to go out as a family."
It's amazing. Now, it's okay. This is very interesting. Culture, I want to go ahead and deliver to you after I bring this next point out because this is fascinating. Now, everybody's criticizing us and everybody else because of this specific article.
Right.
Why is that? Because according to this article, let me see if I can find it embedded within. Let's see here. Looks like, okay. Elio is booked at 3,700 theaters in the US and Canada, including 725 premium large format screens, 2,500 plus 3D screens, and 175D box motion screens. Limited 2D and 3D early access screenings will take place Thursday, followed by nationwide previews beginning at 2 p.m. That just gives you the good PLF breakdown right there. The movie cost $150 million before P&A. Now, Culture, we had heard from, I believe, World of Real and maybe even a couple of other places that this was $300 million. And that all kind of checked out because this has had a lot of problems in the back end, or at least with its production and so forth. Can you break us down, like, what kind of issues may have taken place behind the scenes, first off? And two, with all those issues in place, does that $150 million sound reasonable to you?
If that was the cost, that would have been more reasonable. But that's not the cost. This thing has been reworked and reworked and reworked. And we've heard reports dozens of times, 3 ways to Sunday, whatever kind of, way you want to say it. And it has been. This has found more production problems along the way and more story issues than anybody would care to address publicly. That tells you that this budget is a figment of the current folks over at Deadline's imagination, because there's no way that it cost this little. The number of times they had to work into the story and work into the animation and change the flow or the direction of the story is probably lost to history at this point. The P&A for this, I will say, probably not what it would be if it were something they thought was going to be a winner.
Right.
So, if they put 80 million into P&A on this, I would still be surprised. It may come out that it's far more than that, or maybe it already has, but it would just be surprising to me because everybody knew that once this started to stumble and had little interest, that it was going to be a loser. And again, this is bad news for Pixar. Our friend Alan Ing told us just how terrible this thing was.
Yeah.
And it recently reinforced it on Film Threat. Anytime he's had a conversation with somebody, like whether it be Valiant Renegade, I think that was last night, or anyone else, it's been not great. And again, Alan, I trust fully on his Disney opinions because he's as wild about Disney as I used to be. So this animation and the story within it, it did suffer from a lot of modern day politics from the beginning. Whether they've removed all of that at the end is a different conversation. I will not be rushing to theaters to see this, nor am I rushing to theaters to see, the new Walking Dead. I just will leave Pixar as the shambling shell that it is, because I don't think going forward Pixar is going to be in good health. I don't see a good future for it. And I think in looking at Disney's animation groups, whether it be Pixar or Disney Animation, I think that I'm betting low on Zootopia at the end of the year. And I do believe that we are coming into an age and an era where Disney's returning to the shadows as they did before they were in danger of being acquired by Japan all the way back before Eisner. So
Jonas, I know you have to leave really quickly. So, sorry, Culture. I don't mean to cut you off. I just know that I know he's very time limited. Do you think that $150 million figure, is at all possible?
No, impossible for how long this movie has been in production. Deadline, by the way, just runs with they don't challenge budget numbers as reported by the studio, generally speaking, and they'll do weird things on their big blockbuster tournament series where they will add in like, well, how much they think they made in merchandise. It is a very strange company as far as tracking box office. Maybe they are trading for exclusives and things like that. So no, there's no way this cost $150 million. It's probably a lot closer to double that amount. We don't know that it's double that amount. We're also not the only one to report that. Also, when you rush after the movie is done to create a different movie, I don't care if you're using assets in common or what, that costs more money. These things are not just... You're not just programming them to do different things. You're having to relight it. You're having to do all kinds of different things to it in order to change what the scenes do. Also, they have to work as well. So no, for sure, this cost much, much more than $150 million.
They didn't even use like the reported language, which is what they usually do. At least these media outlets, they'll go with, hey, it's reported at $150 million. But this was like an affirmative, this is this much. I found that was very strange. It seemed like to me it was maybe, what is it? They were running maybe cover for the figure that has been out there reported in multiple places, this $300 million figure, which I think with all the issues attached to this specific production, I think it's got to be the case. Marvin, they didn't even use the reported language attached to this. Deadline just said $150 million. I mean, what do you think is behind that?
I think it's a lot of the studio trying to save face, and Deadline being an arm of the studio. The Hollywood trades often parrot, these fake numbers that, World of Real did not stumble upon that number. That was definitely something that they uncovered. The trades and the studios have this way of dancing around all of the various, semantics that they can use to get that number down to as low as possible, if only to sell, a hill of beans to the shareholders so that they don't revolt and give Bob the what the Italian people did to their leader in the 1940s. But I was trying to make that sound good for YouTube. While still making that point. But yeah, no, I honestly think that, there's no way this movie only cost $150 million when it was made twice.
Yeah.
And if you believe that, then you are a pixie duster of the highest regard.
I think I would agree with that assessment right there. Culture, I know you had some additional thoughts right there, and I love your commentary, especially regarding animation and everything going on here. Go ahead.
Yeah,
please.
I don't have any additional anything to offer because everybody else covered it largely. I just, again, whether you appreciate the animation style that's currently being utilized in this film, which I think is inferior to any other Pixar offering, or not, I just ultimately I don't believe this will be successful. When you compare this to something like How to Train Your Dragon and a budget that wasn't nearly this amount of money that this film cost, I think you're gonna find that a live action remake animation will beat this actual animated thing 9 times out of 10. I fear that they're accurate with the $50 million worldwide earnings, and that's telling. And I think that might even be an overestimation, because if the international market doesn't come in for this because the visuals are so poor, and remember, I mean, a lot of European countries and Asian countries are pretty caught up in the visual presentation of things. This may have even more limited appeal, because you're not going to get this kind of oblong-y look in a lot of Chinese animation these days. Japanese animation is much more sophisticated. This looks like dog duty, and I'm going to say this: How to Train Your Dragon doesn't. It's possible that Elio could lose out to 28 years later. That's how bad this is.
Oh man, I mean, it's this is rough. This is rough for Pixar. They have to get it together, especially on the original animation front. We know they can, hash up sequels, but can you create something from scratch? I think we have Hopper and a couple of other films coming up in that regard. Let's see how those do. I want to go ahead and incorporate some super chats in here, which have some really good points attached to them as well. Albertus Magnus 44 with the 499. Elio takes place in the Communiverse. Disney propaganda has completely abandoned subtlety. This is a commie sledgehammer aimed at your children. I mean, this is, I think, partially why Alan Ng gave this, the worst Pixar movie ever made. It's just it's filled with propaganda and modern messaging, I should say, that runs counter to the very pro audience type Pixar fare that they used to produce. So there you go. Retro Meister with the $10. Elio is being done by the same people behind Turning Red, the worst Pixar movie ever, and caused a mass exodus of people like Brad Bird leaving the studio for John Lasseter's Skydance Animation. That is absolutely correct right there, and a very good point indeed. Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.